Welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and I am going to go through my July books with you. I will have you please notice that this is all sweat. Thank you for noticing. It's warm up here on this beautiful July day because it is still July 30 and I don't think I'm going to finish another book by tomorrow. I work 12 hours tomorrow, so unless I have a very strange day, I will not be reading another book. I will hopefully be finishing my audiobook, which is, it's called The Confidant. So our main character is Anna Rosenberg. She is like the confidant to FDR. I've never heard of her because apparently you don't study women in history. Patriarchy. Go see the Barbie movie. Anyway, so I will probably be reading this book and I probably won't be reviewing it next month because I will have finished it in July. So I will tell you now that this is about Anna Rosenberg. So the book like does a very little bit of like her early life, and then it's a lot of like FDR's presidency and how she's she's like the labor secretary for him, and then she just does a lot more, like she's like a wartime like correspondent basically, like she is like on the front lines with like privates, like trying to see like what they want out of life when they get back for FDR to help do things with. She helped him with a lot of his like integration that he did. And then she's also an advisor to Truman. And at the point that I'm at in the book, which I have like 5 hours left out of like a 15-hour book, she is like the Secretary of Defense in the 1950s. I find it just fascinating how we don't like learn about her in school. So I would recommend this book because it is fascinating, but I don't love the audiobook, so I think it's the reader. It's just not reading like a story, but I feel like it's written well. I don't know. So it might be interesting to see if, you know, like if you read it, if you like it better. So I'll probably give it like 3 or 4 stars. I will not regret reading it. It's just wasn't like super entertaining, like to the point that like my mind would wander a little bit sometimes, which is probably why it's taking me so long to get through it. So I like read a few books in the beginning of July, and then Summerween happened. So I read a lot of like thriller, horror, and then I felt very dark after that and needed to do like heavy, like, sorry, not heavy, like light beach read romantic stuff. So that's what I've been reading. I just finished a Pull Out the book today. That was amazing, like 5 stars. I read it in one sitting. So I just felt like that was a great way to end July, and I would just quick film this for you guys. So yeah, hoping to finish The Confidant. So the other, so I read just like, oh yeah. My books, like on when I put things on my iPad, like the titles, it sorts them really strangely. So it's hard to make sure that I'm telling you about all of them. So I listened to Come Tumbling Down by Shauna McGuire. This is, I think it's book 4 or 5 in this series. So this is continuing the story of the school for children that go, I can't remember any words. This is super fun. So sorry about all the stumbling. I should really write it like a script or something. So I think, the Wayward Children series. So these are like novellas. They're like 3 or 4 hours on audiobook. And they're like kind of like twisted fairy tales. So like Jacqueline and Jill, they were seen in a prior story. So I really can't like give away what's happening now, but there's some creepy stuff, some good stuff. I think I gave this one 3 stars. And I don't know, I don't really want to reference my stars because I would like to see how I feel about them now, like when it's been a few weeks. So I'm just gonna kind of guess it. So I would give this like 3 stars, maybe 4. The story was good. I think my mind was wandering a little bit when I was listening to this one, but it was one of the better ones in the series. I liked it. I will read more. And I just love how they're like kind of bite-sized. And this one just like a little creep. Like they all have a little bit like sinister edge to them. So like they're like fairy tale, but not like a gothic fairy tale. Where, you know, like Cinderella's feet get cut off. That kind of a thing. So that, and then A Torch Against the Night by Saba Tahir. So this is the second book after An Ember in the Ashes. So Torch Against the Night. This one was good. 4 stars. I really like where this story is going. So this is like a fantasy. There are masks, which are like kind of like elite soldiers that also have like a little magic. There's also scholars and like nobles. And so they are like, so scholars like used to be in power, I believe, but now they're like slaves. But they're like trying to get power now. So we have 2 main characters. One is a mask, one is a scholar. There's tension. There might be romance. There's just so many facets to this story. I did also read the 3rd book, A Reaper at the Gates. So I'm up to the 3rd book. This one just felt a little bit more like a middle of a series fantasy. Like nothing was super interesting about this book, but it feels like it's building towards something that I'm going to enjoy. So that middle of a series fantasy where you need the information, you need this time to pass, but like not amazing things are happening to your favorite characters. So Elias and Laya, we just are continuing their story. And then, yeah, so Elias, Laya, and I can never remember characters' names anymore. And the other mask who's working like in the government, so she is kind of like part of the problem, but starting to realize that she's part of the problem. I will keep reading this series. I do really like it. So those are the ones that are just kind of, they don't really like fit the themes. So now we'll go over my Summerween books, which I read like 8 books that week, and then I finished a few more right after. I'm just gonna throw my hair up because it's real hot in here. So I know I've said this before in other movies, but it is real hot up here because it's like 80 degrees outside, and that's cute. It's kind of fun that you can only get with like dirty hair. It's been like curled and hairsprayed and can never recreate it, you know? All right, so creepy books. So thriller. This is my June book club, or book of the month. So she started it. Thriller. Premise is 4 girls who are like estranged best friends. Like there's drama between these girls, and they bullied someone in high school who is now asking them to be her bridesmaids and come on a private island for, I think, a week and go to a bachelorette party. So because these girls are shallow as hell, they agree and they go on this bachelorette party. People are murdered. Surprise. Why? If you bullied someone in high school, why would you go on their bachelorette party? It feels like a setup to me. There's a twist at the end. That's good. 4 stars. I don't know that I would recommend this for everyone, but like it was entertaining. The premise was just a little, like really, I find it hard to suspend my disbelief when it's something that's like red flag. I wouldn't go on this. Now we're all not gonna die, you know? These are all out of order now. I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So our main character is Pip. Yeah, I think it's Pippa, and she goes by Pip. Lovable character. She's like nerdy, but not like unliked, which is great. Just because you're a good student doesn't mean you have to be unliked in school. It's just a stereotype I hate when it's like, well, pick on the girl who's good at school. Sometimes those girls are well-rounded, okay? So, that was a weird rant. This is a YA. This girl is doing a special project, and what she chose was to solve a town murder. And I believe it's been 5 years. And so Andy Bell was murdered. She was a popular girl. Her boyfriend at the time was blamed. And so Pip is trying to solve this murder because she does not think that that boyfriend did it because he was always really nice and it was very out of character for him. So this was great. I really liked it. It's kind of like a mixed media because it's like texts and interviews and like evidence, and there are more in this series and I will keep reading them. I really liked it. It was a really good palate cleanse after some of the horror that I read, and like horror. So I have found that when I'm reading creepy things that I just don't like, I just cannot understand them. So I think maybe that is what my mind does, because I'm thinking of ending things. This one was so messed up. And a lot of my favorite booktubers have read this and really liked it, and it was just weird. I was so weird. So, and again, I think I was creeped out, but then at the end with the twist, I just didn't really get it. So maybe it was my brain protecting me. So our main character, the title to me makes me think she's gonna kill herself. What the heck is that about? But then right away she starts talking about she's thinking of ending things with her boyfriend. And then I feel like I can't tell you the rest of it. It's creepy. There's creepy people in it. It's a creepy premise. It's like 4 or 5 hours. I don't know. It's just, it unsettled me. And also left me what? Speaking of what? Everything the Darkness Eats. Honestly, I was drawn in by the black on black cover. It's like a black cover with glossy black letters. It's a beautiful cover. This story is so messed up. It is just gross and creepy. So there's a man who is stealing people. And I don't know that I can tell you what he's doing with them. There's a cop who is looking for them. There's another guy who's looking for them. And they also become part of this. It's a weird, they're worshiping an orb. It's very strange. But there's also very brutal, rape and gay bashing. And it was gross. It was graphic. It was horrifying. I think I gave it 2 stars. I would even maybe turn around and give it 1 at this point because it just was gross. It felt like I wasted my time. So, I also listened to Slewfoot, which I've had on my TBR for a while, and this was a good old-fashioned, haunting story. I liked this. This was Puritan haunting. Women are the devil. Women are witches. If they talk back to a man, we're going to accuse them of being witches. But this girl, Abatha, her husband dies because he falls in a hole. And she makes a deal with the devil and she's thriving. But then the men in the town are coming after her. And so she's accused of witchcraft, etc. It was very, again, this one was creepy, but it wasn't just glorified grossness. So it was entertaining. I liked the premise. Would I say it's the best book I've ever read? No, but I would probably give it 4 stars because it did what it needed to do. It told this story, and I really liked Abatha, and it's pretty satisfying at the end. So, yeah, if you're looking for a haunting that's not really scary, it's just because you're like kind of on the side of the haunters, you know? It's a weird place to be. Now I'm just peeking through my audiobooks to see if there's any other horror. Okay. We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Again, this was like a 4-hour like novella, so this is why I read so many books, because a lot of them were short. So this is by Shirley Jackson, who also wrote The Haunting of Hill House, which is creepy. Like, that's actual horror, creeps you out. Yeah, messes with the mind. That's a good one. This one, it's hard to tell is it a children's book? Maybe. So it's creepy, but I just don't feel like the story went anywhere. So I would give this like 2 or 3 stars because I don't really know what it's about after listening to it. So there's 2 girls who live in this house, but they like don't interact with the outside. The one girl interacts with the outside world. The other one doesn't. And then a cousin comes to try to like take their money, but we still don't know like why these girls are basically alone with their uncle who's dying. The uncle dies. The villagers turn on them. There's a twist, like you kind of find out like what happened. I don't know, I just wouldn't recommend it. Okay? So that's... Oh, and then I just, as a graphic novel, again, a little palate cleanser, Demon in the Woods. If you know me, if you follow this channel, you know that I love Leigh Bardugo. Love the Grishaverse. So this is Alexander's backstory, like him and his mom. It's a graphic novel. Can read it in like 15 minutes tops. The illustrations are great. I love finding out backstory to my favorite characters' backgrounds. He is like a villain that you love. He's so misunderstood. And he just needs love and acceptance. Okay. Then... My Heart is a Chainsaw. This book, I almost DNF'd this book so many times. Just want to sit with that for a second. So our main character is just not a likable character. So her name is Jade. She goes by JD. I don't know. She goes by something different. Anyway. Or no, her name is Jennifer and she goes by Jade. So she is half native. Her dad is native, but he's a deadbeat and he's gross and maybe abused her. So she is obsessed with horror. She is sure that she's meant to be in a horror story and that it's coming to her town. And then she happens upon a girl who she says is a final girl. Like she can just tell that she is going to be part of this like horror story and she needs to train her to be a final girl. So she like creepily sends her like her obsessive like school projects where she talks about like all this horror event that's gonna happen. Like she's obsessed over like what are her favorite movies? Like Halloween and Friday the 13th, like she's obsessed with them. So, I mean, it's just so many pages of her life being horrible. And, like, she's, like, in trouble with the law. Like, there's weird stuff happening in town, but, like, not really enough. Like, people are being murdered, but, like, slowly. And it's just gross stuff is happening. And I almost didn't read it, and then at the end, she's right. It's a freaking bloodbath. Nearly everyone in the town is murdered. And I just felt like, so this much was like, where are we going? People are being murdered and I'm still a little bit bored. And I also kind of hate the main character because she's just kind of gross and like underachieving. And then we get to the last few hundred pages, and it was like just so action-packed and crazy and like adrenaline pumping. And if the whole book was like that, this would have been like 5-star. I think I gave it 3. It would have been 2 except for those last few pages. I don't know. I don't know that I would ever read another book by him, which is kind of sad. Like, yeah. But it certainly has kept me thinking about it. It was pretty horrifying. Yeah. All right. Stone Maidens. This one's kind of a weird. So it's by Lloyd Devereaux Richards. So he wrote this like 20 years ago. And his daughter recently got on TikTok and was like, my dad wrote this book and it's really great and nobody is buying it and he worked really hard on it. I want him to be known for how good it is. Oh, sorry. So I wanted to be part of the TikTok trend because it's now like trending on Amazon. It's like got like 4 stars. He's like selling like crazy. And you know what? It was a good book. I would give it 4 stars. It is a thriller. So our main character is a cop with something traumatic, or sorry, she's like FBI, more like Criminal Minds. So like special agent, like behavioral analysis kind of situation. So she had something traumatic happen in her past, and these killings feel like they're targeted based on her personal trauma. So that is super interesting. So you're trying to figure out what her backstory is. The twist with the murderer is great. I liked it. I liked the different perspectives. It kept moving. Yeah. So 4 stars. Stone Maidens. And I think there is a sequel. So I would probably read that. It was great. This is a book that has been recommended to me multiple, like, not me personally, like from booktubers. So They Never Learn. Our main character is a college professor and she murders men. And there are 2 points of view in the story, and when they come together, it is shocking to me. Like, there were great twists. You just really don't know how it's gonna work out or happen. Like, it's thrilling. It was good. There was actually multiple different twists. So, yeah, so Dr. Clark, she murders bad guys and gets away with it until now. Maybe? It was good. I gave it 5 stars. I think I gave it 5 stars. It was just like a good thriller. It was a different premise than I've ever read before. I really liked the main character. I liked the different points of view. I liked how it ended. 5 stars. They Never Learn by Lane Fargo. Now, just making sure that I've got all my audiobooks covered here. Nope. Okay. So I switched to romance after that week because so the 2 that I read that I like loved, the last ones, these were the first 2 that I read. So then it just felt like I had invested like so much into just creepy, gross, really disturbing things that weren't even like great stories. So then I just felt like I needed like romance, like fluff, or like my favorite authors, and hopefully that I would like just palate cleanse. So I have been hearing about Emily McIntyre. So Hooked is one, Scarred is one, and I think they're like kind of standalones. Like technically there's like a first and second, but I don't think that the characters cross. So this is Hooked. So our main character is James Barry. So this is like a Peter Pan retelling with bondage. So if you're into that, I don't know if I'm into that, but it was an interesting story. I thought that it was interesting how she took like, so like Peter Pan, Wendy, John, Michael, Hook, like how she put that story together, the way the characters were, the romance was good, slightly problematic, but good. Yeah, I liked it. I think I would have given it 3 stars. Like, I wouldn't necessarily shout from the rooftops that you need to read this, but I love a fairy tale retelling, but it's like, again, fairy tale with bondage. If you like choking. And you don't need to tell me that you like choking, but if you like choking, you can read that book. So in the beginning of the month, I read The Charm Offensive. This has been on my TBR for a really long time. Our main characters are respectively the Bachelor and the Bachelor's producer, basically. So it's the show Ever After, and the main character is the prince. But otherwise, it's the show The Bachelor. If you like The Bachelor, or if you like this book, you need to watch the show Unreal. It's on Hulu. I will probably rewatch the whole thing again because it's been a minute. I think there's 3 seasons. It is so freaking good. So it's like behind the scenes of The Bachelor, but it's a scripted show. So it's like a drama. And it just shows how like the producers, like how they manipulate people, the way they get the shots that they want, like how messy that life can be. Love it. Love it so much. And like Sherry Appleby is one of the main characters, and I love her. I love everything that she's in. So you should really watch that. Because there's only like 10 episodes a season, so it's like 30 episodes. So good. The Charm Offensive. So our main characters fall in love because the prince doesn't realize he's gay until he's in love with his producer. So this was cute. It was sweet. It is a gay romance, so if you don't like gay romance, don't pick this one up. But it was so cute and so good. There were maybe a few too many, like 50 less pages, and maybe it would have dragged a little bit less, but it was good. It was really good. I picked up Love Theoretically. So Allie Hazelwood, she's one of my favorites. But I do have to say that The Love Hypothesis to me was 5 out of 5. Amazing. Never read a book like that before. Love is in the Air was like, okay, it had a little, like one trope that I didn't like. So just like took kind of a star off for that. And this one, I liked so many things about this book, but it was not a 5-star for me. I think I gave it 4. So our main character is I can't think of what the word is. She's a theoretical physicist, and so apparently theorists and experimentalists don't like each other. There's a feud. So she's a theoretical physicist, and she doesn't make any money doing it because she's like an adjunct professor at like 4 different colleges. So she's trying to get a job that pays better. This man works there and is telling her that she's not going to get it. But they also have sparks. There's like some backstory. There's some like drama in the past. Oh, and she's also fake dating his brother, because she works in a website that fake dates people. So there's all sorts of confusion about that, misunderstanding tropes galore, which might be Allie Hazelwood's favorite. She loves fake dating and she loves confusion. The confusion one annoys me a little bit, but I love the fake dating. So yeah, it was entertaining. I liked it. It just wasn't a 5-star, which I feel like it's just always a little bit sad when your favorite author you just don't quite connect with it for some reason. And I thought I was reading just light stuff. So this is not light. I Fell in Love with Hope is about, I think it's like 5 teenagers who are in the hospital. You don't really know what they're all there for, but they're all terminal. Our main character is something mysterious. Don't know that I can tell you anymore. It's sad. It's really sad. It's beautiful writing. I feel like it gets into like chronic illness with kids and like how you live knowing that you're going to die, friendships, love. I think I gave it 4 stars. And it probably could be a 5-star easily. I don't know that I was in the right mindset for it because it was heavy and I was reading in the pool. This is not a beach read. Do not read this if you're looking for something light. This was like more heavy than The Fault in Our Stars for reference. I fell in love with Hope. Book of the month from April, my birth month. Romantic comedy. This was an interesting premise because our premise is that the main character is a woman who works on a show like SNL. So it kind of gives you like behind the scenes of SNL, like how they prepare their sketches, what their schedule looks like, what it's like with the guest star on there. So that was super interesting. So it's like the first half of the book, almost the first half, is like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and like how they are like the week that our love interest, who is a famous famous musician, is on TNO, which is the Night Owls / SNL. So he is like a super hot musician, and our main character is like, I don't know, they don't really describe her very much, but she's like not super cute. She's funny. And so she has a hard time believing that he could fall in love with her. Then the pandemic happens, and they, like, most of the rest of the book is emails that they send to each other during the pandemic, and then they finally, like, are together in person. And so it's kind of about the main character's insecurities, about being with somebody who's, like, so wealthy and so famous and so good looking, and, like, why would he like her? So it was good. It was entertaining. It was a different premise. I gave it 4 stars. Christina Lauren, always coming through in a pinch. The Honey Don't List. This read so fast for me. I just love these romances that are fast, but like not boring. I love the banter. I love the 2 main characters. Our premise is basically Magnolia. So we have 2 super famous people who started with a little like store, like a home store, and then now they have like a network, and I don't know if they have a network. That probably didn't happen for Magnolia when this book was released, which was, I feel like this was like 2000. Oh, this is 2020. So, yeah. So they are famous. They're going on a book tour. They just released a book about marriage, but their assistants catch the husband cheating on the wife. Their marriage is actually in shambles, and the wife is abusive to her assistant, who is actually doing all of her designing. So it's chaotic. There's a lot of drama. I really like it. I think I might have given this one 5 stars. I just liked it the whole way through. It read really well. I liked it. I liked it a lot. The Honey Don't List. And if you think this sounds good, you should also read The Unhoneymooners. That's probably my favorite of theirs. But I don't think there's one that I haven't liked, honestly. Oh, and when I say theirs, Christina and Lauren, 2 first names. They're like a friend co-reading. So I was finding it awkward because I want to say she, but it's they. Yeah. Fun fact. All right, so now Catherine Center. She might be one of my favorite authors at this point. So the first book that I read from her was Things You Leave in a Fire. It was a book of the month. It's one of my first book of the months. I loved it so much. I think I read it in 1 sitting. And since then, there's not a book of hers that I don't like. I think that they each get 4 or 5 stars. So this, I would probably a 4. This one's a 4 star. Our main character is a mess, which I do. Catherine Center's main characters are messes, and I love them. And again, if you love the main character, you're going to love the book, okay? You just are. So our main character is a mess. She is in a portrait painting competition, like super elite. She's so excited to be in it. And then she has surgery on a vessel in her brain that could burst and kill her. So she has that done. Then there's swelling in her brain, and she has face blindness. So she can't see faces. Like she sees like pieces, it looks like a creepy like Pablo Picasso situation. So this is something that I've read about before because there's a Hope College professor who has face blindness, which is hers manifests differently. The way that she like doesn't recognize people. So like her husband, when he walks up to her, she has to piece together like his cologne, the clothes he's wearing, and like the context of the speech to know that it's her husband. Like if she's like at the grocery store, if she's at home, she has context. And that book is called You Don't Look Like Anyone I Know. That was fascinating. And that is like true story, like her memoir. So go read that if you're interested in face blindness. So this main character is it just manifests differently. So she is trying to paint portraits for this portrait competition, but she can't see faces. And then she's also falling in love with people and she can't see faces. Chaos ensues. And she has some family drama to work through. So this is entertaining. It kept me reading. Yeah, 4 stars. Liked it. Loved it. What is the main character's name? Sadie Montgomery. And I feel like the twist was good. Like I saw it coming like right when it came, but I did not see it coming the whole time. So I feel like that's a good book. My last book that I read. I can't get this sticker off. I hate the Barnes & Noble stickers. Okay. So, Happiness for Beginners by Catherine Center. I read this whole book today by the pool. And it was just so entertaining. I loved it. I loved it the whole way through. Our main character has gotten a divorce from her alcoholic husband. She is going on a 3-week like wilderness adventure that sometimes people die on. She is not wildernessy at all, but just feels like she needs to do something to like reclaim her life. Her brother's friend is also going on it, which she doesn't realize. She also doesn't realize that the friend has been in love with her his whole life. 6 years at least. And yeah, romance, chaos, wilderness adventures. It was entertaining. I loved the plot. I loved the banter. I loved the chaos. It doesn't actually make me want to go on a wilderness adventure and not change your clothes ever. That sounds awful, but it was good. I liked it a lot. And it didn't, I don't know, I feel like she didn't get everything she wanted, which is really refreshing in like a romance book. So yeah, sorry. That's just my knee cracking because I rolled it just slightly. So Happiness for Beginners, I am giving 5 stars to, and it's apparently now on Netflix. So I think it's probably just a movie, and I am probably going to go watch it right now. So those are the books I read. It was a lot of books. I got through a lot. And for August, I don't really have any like themes. I think I'm going to read some fantasy because I don't think I read much, and I have a lot of them on my TBR. Yeah. Just, August. I do feel like I need to get some like dark academia. So see if I can find some to fit onto my August TBR. But that's July, and thanks for watching.